Welcome to the Wellness Upgrade, the show where we take a deep dive into your lymphatic system, metabolic health, and the nutrition strategies that actually work. I'm JoAnn Clinton, a certified nutrition specialist candidate, clinical nutritionist, and certified lymphedema therapist. I've walked in your shoes, healing my own Hashimoto's after years in the high-stress corporate world, and now I help others find their way back to energy, clarity, and flow. Whether you're managing swelling, managing your hormonal health, struggling with fatigue, or you just want to feel more like yourself again, you'll find practical, science-backed tips here without the fluff, quick fixes, or Instagram myths. So, if you're ready to support your body from the inside out, you're in the right place. You know, right now, as you're listening to this, there's an incredible hidden network inside your body, working around the clock, and you probably don't even think about them. We all know about the heart and the lungs, but there's another system, a kind of silent guardian that's just as crucial. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this unsung hero, your lymphatic system. The best way to think about your lymphatic system is like your body's own internal secret service, working in the shadows, day in, day out, protecting you, cleaning up messes, and helping you heal. It's pretty much invisible, but its impact is massive. So before we deep dive, this is just a quick but important heads up. Everything we're talking about here is for educational purposes only, based on the source material that I put together for this episode. This is not medical advice. Please, please, please always talk to a qualified healthcare provider about any health concerns or before making any changes to your diet. So what is a lymphatic system? Let's get properly introduced. This is an incredibly complex web of vessels and nodes running everywhere in your body. Think of it as a second highway system running alongside your blood vessels. Its main gig is cleaning up the junk and defending you from invaders. So what's actually flowing through these pipes? It's a fluid called lymph. And it's not just wastewater. Sure, it collects broken cells, germs, and other gunk, but it also delivers proteins, nutrients, and healthy fats absorbed from your food. So here's the journey of the lymphatics, or of the lymph. First, it starts out as fluid that naturally seeps out of your blood vessels, and then that fluid gets picked up by the lymphatic capillaries. And once that fluid enters into those lymphatic capillaries, that's when it becomes lymph. And this lymph then travels through a series of vessels. And then after it travels through these vessels, it then travels through some lymph nodes. So lymph nodes, think about them as the security checkpoints where immune cells filter out anything harmful. So then the clean, filtered fluid will then go back into your bloodstream to start the cycle all over again. And unfortunately, we aren't really aware of this network until it's too late, or we start to feel symptoms, right? And still we start to get symptomatic. And that's when you know the system is a little overwhelmed. So we may experience things like skin issues, acne. We may notice some swelling. We may feel bloated. We may feel a little tired or fatigued. We may feel a little foggy in our brain. We might get sicker quicker. Probably notice a little bit of slow wound healing. Now, of course, these symptoms overlap with other conditions, and I understand that, which is why you always want to check with a medical provider before taking any action. And so what causes these symptoms to start to occur? These are everyday insults that happen over time. So we look at things like sitting at a desk all day, eating a lot of junk food, dehydration, chronic stress, even tight clothing, like tight underwire bras could also affect lymphatic as well, right? So this is why when I work with clients, I really want to know what's going on in their lifestyle, because we're going to focus a lot on nutrition in this episode, but I really want you to kind of know that it's more than just nutrition. It's a whole lifestyle thing. It's more than just nutrition and going in and getting an occasional manual lymphatic drainage massage. What happens if that lymph isn't flowing very well? Well, we can be more susceptible to infections, right? If things stagnate, we're actually creating a breeding ground for things to grow. Surgeries can also be traumatic for the lymphatic system and even traumas. When the system can't keep up, it's like the garbage collectors go on strike and the trash just keeps piling up. So let's just talk about another sign of trouble. Let's talk about what lymphedema is, because I do work with folks that have lymphedema, and this happens when the lymph fluid can't drain and it just starts to back up in the tissues, which can cause that painful swelling, usually in the arms or the legs. It can be primary, which is a genetic form, or it can be secondary, which is caused by surgery, injury, or infection. And there's also a parasite that actually will infiltrate the lymphatic vessels and lymph nodes, which can also contribute to lymphedema. Another thing that can contribute to lymphedema is we do have a compromised lymphatic system. It could be compromised, again, through genetics, or it could be compromised through surgery, where, let's just say, for example, somebody has undergone breast cancer and they've survived their journey, and they've also had to have lymph nodes removed as a measure, life-saving measure, right? And so now the arm where those lymph nodes were removed is now susceptible to lymphedema. So we also want to talk about a gut connection, because here is where it gets really interesting, especially when we want to talk about nutrition. So a huge part of your lymphatic system is actually in your gut. It's called the GALT, G-A-L-T, and that stands for gut-associated lymphoid tissue. Its job is to absorb fats from your food and fight off harmful invaders you might swallow. But when your gut lining is damaged, it's often they call it leaky gut. I can't stand that word, but it's actually what it's really known as is intestinal hyperpermeability. In other words, things that shouldn't pass through do, right? And then your immune system kind of freaks out. And then inflammation floods the lymphatics in your gut. And that congestion, it doesn't stay local. It can back up your lymphatic flow throughout your entire body. So here's the hopeful part. You can support your lymphatic system, and you can do that through nutrition. Of course, there are lifestyle things, right, such as exercising. We're going to focus on nutrition, but there are things such as receiving manual lymphatic drainage. We can do things like dry brushing, making sure you're hydrated, deep diaphragmatic breathing. But here we're going to talk about nutrition, and the strategy is really simple. First, we want to look at reducing inflammation with healthy fats like omega-3s, maybe lower some sodium. If you have lymphedema, you might want to lower your sodium intake, and that's going to avoid that fluid retention. We want to also increase fiber from veggies to support gut health, and definitely stay hydrated. Here's what I'm going to say about hydration and lymphatics. Imagine a toilet bowl without water, and that's all I'm going to say there, because a lot of people get they can get a very interesting visual when I say that, but the point hits home, right? So the best part is, with nutrition, it can be very delicious. It doesn't mean you have to starve yourself. Variety is going to be key. Think about things like green tea, berries, like I love blueberries, tomatoes, salmon, things like broccoli and cauliflower, or spices like turmeric and cinnamon. And the plate you can think about breakfast oatmeal with a ton of blueberries and maybe a poached egg for some protein. And then for lunch, grilled salmon salad, maybe dinner veggie and quinoa stir fry. So the point is, this isn't about deprivation. It's just choosing colorful whole foods that help your body clean up, do its job. So we've met the lymphatic system, we've seen the challenges it faces, and we've learned how to help it, starting in the kitchen. This hidden system works tirelessly for you every single day. The only question now is, how will you help it?